What is up, DTube Steem blockchain? So today I want to talk a little bit about this topic that I seen a little bit more people covered lately, and that is this topic of does Steem need leaders? I think this is a very, very interesting topic. Being on the Steem blockchain for almost 2 years now, it gives you a very, very interesting perspective on things. So the topic of leadership. So the first thing that's very interesting with the Steem blockchain is that it's mainly a technology layer that works, and and that the code can run itself, and that people communicate over the network without really needing someone to tell the blockchain what to do. Like the blockchain is running and people interacting with the blockchain, and in a way you don't really need a leader in a way of looking at it. I mean, if you're just looking at it from the content creators are doing their stuff, and the investors are doing their own stuff, and speculators can come in. So in a way it doesn't need like leader, but it's kind of interesting to sort of look at this. So in a way I love it, that I think that systems that doesn't have, like, let's say a clear leader, that in some ways they can it can make people feel a little bit more open to experiment without having to look to a boss. And I think that that's sort of interesting in some ways. In a way, what I think Steam needs, or that it eventually naturally will have, is, let's say, so-called, let's call it leaders, but just people that are basically inspiring. You can call them inspiring leaders or something like that. They don't really have an official role of leader, but I think that there's a lot of people that are doing amazing stuff on the blockchain, behind the scenes, and sometimes they're talking and you can see that they are in on it, and that they have like a track record of doing amazing interesting things. And clearly you can see that if you have those kind of inspiring people somewhere, they are behind the scenes in the background, or you can see some that are actually doing real projects. You can eventually see people's track record, and it can also be content creators track record. So you can have content creator so-called leaders, and they are not really officially leaders, but if they would so-called disappear from the blockchain, then it definitely would have an impact. But this is so a lot of people, they have like a leader, or they have like someone that they sort of watch or follow, and in a way everyone can sort of be a leader in a way, because leader is just if you are able to see something that other people are not able to see. In a way you sort of are a leader in some way for other people. And everyone is always like, we are on the internet, we're sort of looking at cool people, we want sort of real information. So we're looking at people that have so-called perceived, or that have perceived something that maybe we haven't perceived, and we want to be so informed. So you in a way have all these smaller leaders here and there, and everyone is like, if everyone is doing a bit of that, then that adds up eventually. And then of course you do have these, and this is the big part that's going to be a big part in the future, those that can inspire people. Because people that can inspire other people to sort of do stuff and really take action, I mean, that is the kind of leaders you want in the future. Because in the future you won't need so much these so-called knowledge leaders, or educator leaders, because we already have that in the smartphone. If it's just raw data or raw information, we can already consume that in other forms. But in terms of the inspiring aspect, having people that are inspiring human beings, those kind of leaders, if you have those leaders, a network can grow way, way faster. because in a way those leaders are irreplaceable. Like you feel like, and I feel that with some people on the Steem blockchain, like these people are irreplaceable. Like if they would stop doing what they're doing, that would be really, really, really bad for this blockchain. But at the same time, yeah, in a way, if a person stopped doing something, the network probably would keep on going, just as we've seen in the past, and some other leader would come in. But in a way, you kind of want to be, you kind of want other people to think you're irreplaceable. And that's kind of like the role that so everyone in a way can sort of be, let's say, a leader, uh, because you only need eyes. You only need eyes, and you only need to be a little bit joyful, or that you are not a problem, that you are joyful, or that you are inspiring or something like that, and you just have eyes. Okay, congrats, you are a leader in some ways. So in a way, yes, Steem need leaders in a way, but they're not really assigned leaders as a role. But I mean, if you imagine, for example, I mean, for example, if you look at the code, and I mean, we don't know exactly, like we know a few people that sort of did some work, but there will always be people that did a lot of work and that were amazing leaders that we never will know about. So a lot of people are doing amazing work and we don't know who did it and who created what. And that's always sort of how it's going to be. But yeah, technology wise, the technology won't need, let's say, a leader maybe in so many ways eventually, because the technology is just going to become better with more computing power. It can automate more stuff, and but still you have the human being aspect that, well, if you want to bring on board more human beings quicker and faster and have a more ecosystem of maybe more positivity, you need people in some ways that are all in a way, or that are you showing that they're dedicated or committed, and that's sort of that helps so much. It helps so much, and because if one person can onboard so many people, I mean, in the long run, but people are looking at it very, very short-sighted. I mean, if you really want to empower a human being and if you really want to transform who they are, that's going to take at least 5 years, 5-10 years of like daily dedication to to move into a particular direction. And just because you always have new people coming in and stuff like that, all this stuff that people did in the past, everything needs to always be repeated. So you always have content that you can sort of create, and because you always have to, because you can speak to the old people and the new people, and new people always need to know stuff. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, I mean, in a way, yes, Steem doesn't maybe need leaders in a way, looking at it from the technology perspective, but from inspiring aspect, be able to inspire other people, you need those kind of leaders somewhere, uh, or else, everything just becomes about knowledge gathering, and everything becomes, nothing new ever happens in a way. I think that leaders really, if they inspire people, they can really make people do other forms of actions than what you're doing right now, and that is sort of what you want. You want informed people. You want people that stay up to date and that are action takers, and maybe have a vision or something. Usually, I don't like to look at goals so much, because goals is like, I like more to look at it about how to be more dedicated to the process, because I don't really know what the end can flower into, and I know that goals I would use I would just go from the limited data that I already gathered. So the goals would probably just be a little bit more of what I already know, while a transformation, and if someone's truly dedicated to the process, that can flower into a totally new almost dimension or something like that. So yeah, uh, it's really cool, this topic, because you can look at it in so many ways. So for example, Steam, at sometimes they've had like amazing leaders come up and then they sort of fade away, and you can sort of enjoy both these experiences of, oh, there they had later and then they don't have later. And that's the benefit of this technology, that in some ways it can kind of keep on going in a way without like an official leader, but in a way it would kind of help if you have some inspiring kind of person that like speeds things up, or just having more, you want more competent people, like people that are, using their eyes, looking at stuff, and like trying to understand more, trying to learn daily, become a little bit more sharper, and patient people basically. So that's what I want to talk a little bit about. So I'm not really sure if I had a clear answer in this. I probably shouldn't. I mean, I want people to think for themselves, but it's a fun topic. Steam and leaders and that. Have a great day, DTube and the Steem blockchain. Bye bye.